to Horror Movies with Friends. I am your host, Andy Green, aka Wolfmandy Screame. At least I'm Wolfmandy Screame for this month because this is day one, or night one, depending on where you are, of 31. That's right, 31 movies, horror movies. It's October, Halloween, we get it. 31 movies, 31 guests. This is a guest, wave for the audience. With me and a drink pairing and a movie. I have not seen most of these movies. This first one I have seen, but I've never seen it sober until today. And I am going by criteria laid out by the patron saint of horror from Letterboxd app, Cinemonster. He does something every year called Hooptober, and I wanted to celebrate Letterboxd and the film community from there, and it also gave me a structure to play with. Join us on this journey. Subscribe now to join this mad science experiment. Am I going to survive? No idea. I might actually turn into a wolf by the end of this. But I have to welcome our screamed guest, the first guest on the show, Marissa Flaxbart, writer, wallpaper enthusiast, and clown traumatizee. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Even more traumatized now after what has got to be my fourth or fifth viewing of this film. Hi, I'm Marissa. I'm so happy to be here for your very first show of what will be so many. 31, I'm told.
31. Yes. It's gonna be a long journey. This will be the most cogent I am, and I'm not even cogent.
I don't know. I think it might have something to do with the film choice.
That's true. There's nothing cogent about this movie. Actually, it's very cogent,
yeah.
All right? What movie did we choose? What the hell did we just watch?
Well, we have watched the 1988 classic, directed by Stephen Chiodo, and kind of the brainchild of Stephen and his brothers, the Chiodo brothers, Killer Klowns from Outer Space.
Ooh!
Does what it says on the tin. Killer Klowns, they are from outer space, and they are killers.
And within 15 minutes, one of the characters does say the title of the movie, so that's a drink, but please, water if you're driving. Second, if you haven't seen this movie, and really, you should see this movie, it's incredible. It is on the Halloween channel, Film Star, the Horror Zone. We all know these channels. They're the biggest in the industry. They are free to download, at least through my Roku. You can come over and watch it on my Roku, look on someone else's Roku, or however you download apps. I don't know, you're smarter than me. But if that doesn't work for you, all right, log into your parents' CinemaxGo account and just skip through their favorites. Don't look, and go to Killer Klowns from Outer Space. You won't regret it. It's an hour and 30 minutes, maybe 26 of greatness. Before we can really dive in, I think I'm a little thirsty. So could I get you a drink?
I would love that.
Oh wow. That would be really good. What do we have for you? What? We have wine. This is a bottle of wine. Now, from 2020 vintage, Maria Ganxa de Pascona. And this is a Spanish wine from the Catalonian region of Spain.
Wow.
From the Montsant region, so it's a mountainous region. And this is 100% Carinyena grapes.
I'm so impressed, Andy. You know so much about this wine.
It helps when the label is right there. This is how I act.
Always with a bottle of wine in front of your face.
Yeah. I should have had the whole script.
That's an
right
old
here.
Hollywood trick.
Old Hollywood, exactly.
Yeah.
And I discovered this wine with the help of the amazing women at Vinovore, and they are women winemakers themselves. They have a store filled with women.
It is often filled with women.
Vineyards. Yes, exactly. A lot of women at Virgil Village. This is in LA, our stomping grounds. There's no circus tent there, unfortunately, but there is wine.
Not unless some place nearby is being fumigated.
Yes. Oh, that's true. And this, let's dig in and taste. Let's do that. Here we go.
Oh, look at that.
Luscious.
Beautiful.
Luscious. Sort of it's a big pour there for you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. It has a nice rouge to it. It's not too dark. This is a chilled red, or at least it was chilled. And now it's slightly warm. But let's
It's pretty tart.
It is tart, but I feel like it's fruity, just like Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Very fitting.
Colorful.
It is colorful. I mean, it's beautiful. I feel like it's a refreshing red. I mean, it's a natural wine and it is supposed to be served chill. So it's like sort of a, but it's not, it's complex just like this movie.
Well, what an excellent segue
Yeah.
into talking about the film, tying it all together.
Yeah, and so what brought us to outer space? Or I guess what brought the clowns to us?
Well, so
it's your fault.
We were looking for a movie, something from you were looking for something from 1988, and I just did a quick Google search, horror movies 1988. There's a lot of really great stuff, especially in my own sort of favorite horror genre, which is this kind of like ridiculous, like so over the top that it's almost safe zone. Now, I don't know if anyone would necessarily describe Killer Klowns as feeling particularly safe, but
you mean in terms of like, it's not, you're not gonna have nightmares about this movie? Or
I'm not. I mean, I'm also not afraid of clowns. It's important, that's important to know. But it just so happens that my mother, who was afraid of clowns, loved this movie. She thought it was funny, she thought it was a lot of fun, and I don't know if there was something there about it being like a safe way to engage with her clown phobia or not. But my mother passed away when I was younger, and yesterday would have been her birthday. So it was just by like a trick of the scheduling that I ended up watching this movie, which for some reason my mother really loved.
It's a Halloween miracle.
It was indeed.
So Lynn,
Lynn is my mom's name.
Flax part. And we have to take a sip after that.
Yeah, I would pour some out, but I would think we want to clean up wine from the hardwood, you know.
It's much better than carpet. So
that's true. That's very
true. You're revealing information about this haunted set here.
Haunted hardwood.
Haunted hardwood. That's a kind of a creepy title or something, or like a cool. I don't know what it is.
As long as we're talking about clowns,
yes.
As long as we're talking about clowns,
yes,
which I've been doing really for a while, and like fear of clowns.
Yes.
I now know a little bit more about this movie than I did when I woke up this morning, because I have the DVD. I did not have to watch it on Film Star Plus. And
or the Halloween channel, or
anybody who maybe has never seen a DVD before or has forgotten what physical media is like. One of the cool things is that there are special features, and I often forget this myself since I don't watch my DVDs or Blu-rays that often. And I was like, I wonder what's there. And there were all sorts of special features. This DVD was released in like 2001, so even the special features are pretty dated. But in what I watched, there wasn't like a lot of footage of the Chiodo brothers just sitting around, just like we are now, just sort of talking to a camera. And they said
stole
that
their idea.
the original idea for Killer Klowns came from like just like fun conversations between the brothers of like, what would be the scariest thing you can think of? And the answer was, you're just driving in a car at night and you look out your window and there's a clown staring at you in the car next to you.
Yeah, that'd be pretty scary.
I'm even as someone who is not particularly creeped out by clowns, I agree that would be very scary.
Clowns where they're not supposed to be is scary. Yeah, so like, and they're not where they're supposed to be in this entire movie.
No.
But it's ridiculous. But I think the whole movie is like, the word I wrote was stupidly clever, or like because it's just like, it does all of the clown sort of things that we know and makes it very clever in terms of them as monsters. And I mean, they're aliens, but what is your favorite thing that they do, these clowns? Like, I mean, is it the popcorn gun? Is it the cotton candy cocoon?
I think that my favorite, or I don't know if it's really my favorite, but the image that has always really stuck in my mind is when the one clown is doing the shadow puppets on the wall.
Oh, yes.
And they do some clever, tricks. I mean, the Chiodo brothers were special effects wizards.
The clowns look great.
I say were. I mean, they actually still do this. They are still living, and they still are. But it was
Chiodo brothers.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
And the one little clown guy is doing shadow puppets on the wall, and people are watching and laughing, and then all of a sudden, the puppets go from being something that you could feasibly do with your hands to impossible. There's like a Tyrannosaurus Rex and a glowing eye.
It's the George Washington crossing the Delaware. That was my favorite.
And then I think it comes down and like eats somebody.
Yeah.
So there's also the like Punch and Judy puppet show where some like teenager is like leaning against a lamppost, like laughing at it, like it's really great. And then all of a sudden he gets shot by the cotton candy gun.
And then he gets turned into cotton candy. Yeah. And actually that puppet show was like about consent. It was like a very intense, like the guy was just not taking no for an answer. And then the girl puppet killed the guy puppet, and then the guy watching found that amusing. And then
she's like, "You're laughing?
Yeah.
You're not going to be laughing in a minute."
Yeah, and then the full clown came up. Yeah, this is. I just wanted to let's see the $2 million budget, because I'm going to read the back of this. This is you can't because no one has this DVD anymore. They hoped the shower scene would rival Hitchcock's masterpiece, Psycho.
That is another favorite moment of mine that I didn't remember for some reason. And this time watching it through, I was like, wait a second. Wow, why didn't I remember that? When the popcorn, they've got all this circus popcorn, and you don't think anything of it because you've seen it several times throughout the movie. And then the woman takes off, she's home from the circus. Debbie, sure.
She's home from the circus. It's like just a normal, this is no fun house, Marissa.
But the popcorn that she comes home, she's taking a shower after sort of a failed attempt to report this ridiculous situation to the police, and their popcorn just sort of falls off of her clothes as she's putting them in the hamper. And then she gets in the shower and the camera like focuses in on the popcorn kernels that are on the ground, and they start to move and crawl around. And then you realize that they're like little seedlings of like clown, like alien, what are those things called?
I mean, the xenomorph?
Little clown xenomorphs.
Yeah, well, and that's what I thought too, and I thought it was so clever, and also it's terrifying because they're shooting out like 1 billion popcorn throughout this movie. So I mean, the ship blew up, but like there's clowns everywhere.
That's such a good point.
Let's go back to the wine, revisit the wine, and think about our.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I really need to give this wine some more thought.
And this movie more thought.
So, 1988 was, the 80s were a time of very, like, horny movies. And I had forgotten that the first opening, especially, of the movie is very horny. Like, it's all just teenagers they're like, Paradise Point or whatever it's called, top of the world.
Top of the world.
And they're all like making out. Our leads
they're like
are
all
sharing
basically about to have sex.
Yeah. Our leads are sharing champagne.
Debbie and Mike Tobacco.
Mike Tobacco, who doesn't smoke in this movie. Only the Officer Mooney smokes a cigar.
Officer Mooney, that guy.
Yeah, you have a chip on your shoulder.
I mean, he's great.
He's amazing.
The actor is really good. He is such an asshole.
Early on in this movie, I was like, is that the character actor who played the judge in Ghostbusters 2? Because he's so angry. Like, he really seems like he's got Ghostbusters, like, slime, like, flowing through his veins. How upset he is about every single thing. It's not. He's not.
Oh, he's not.
No.
You had me going.
But he's that level of like over the top anger. And he's got this like super hot, like blonde stud of a like
Dave Hansen.
I got so excited talking about how hot he was that I forgot like nouns. Like, what is he? He's a police guy.
He's a cop,
who stands up against police violence,
He does.
He's like, because Officer Mooney is like bringing in these young punks and...
Because they were drinking in public. Don't drink in public.
And one of them is like a goth, very cool, or like the Cure.
I read, the Cure, but I also read them as that they were queer. And that Mooney was just like that's why he was going to beat them up.
I actually also read that, and this was one of those things where like this time watching it is the first time that I could see that.
Yeah.
I was very faint. But then, he even essentially does the whole like queer panic thing to the other officer for defending them. He's like, he's, your little boyfriend's here, or whatever. Yes,
that was the moment where I was like, okay, that's intentional.
Yeah, but the other officer doesn't take the bait and is basically like, I'm never like, if I see you beating up, citizens again, you're going to be sent up the river so fast, He doesn't actually, the threat doesn't work.
I like that line sounded so terrible that you just said. That literally was probably like word for word. And every line in this movie is like what I would would be the first line that I write when I'm writing a script and normally change it. But it's just like,
Sure.
no, you don't need to. This is all cliche lines that work really, really well.
Yeah, that was actually a big surprise for me watching this movie for now like the third, fourth, fifth time. I guess I remembered it being...
Which one is it? Third, fourth, fifth?
I honestly don't know. Because I haven't seen it in a very long time. And watching it now, I don't know if it's because of how much time has passed or what, or how much attention I was paying to it, because I definitely had a few times watching this movie where I wasn't paying that much attention.
There's a lot to pay attention to in this movie, a lot of kernels.
Yeah, kernels, they're going to become clown xenomorphs.
Yeah, if you don't watch them.
So, which Debbie wasn't doing, and then she got in trouble. She got
showering.
captured by the clowns and got trapped in a balloon.
Wait, before you go any further,
Well,
I wrote this down. I was just like, wait. So why did Debbie get put into a balloon when everyone else gets put into a cotton candy cocoon? And my only thought was, oh, it's because Debbie's hot, right? Or like Debbie's the love interest lead.
Yeah, I mean that's a screenwriter and each of us thinking like they can't kill Debbie, so Debbie can't die. But we could give the clowns some credit and say they thought that they needed her to lure the other guys to their lair.
So that was the plan, because they were the only two people in town that they were having trouble with, basically. I guess,
I
sure.
mean, it falls apart a little bit because, like, why would they need those guys to be lured to their lair? That's only causes trouble for them.
I think it was great. You know, it's like, oh, okay, there's balloons now, and not just dead cotton candy. Because I was worried for Debbie for a moment.
Oh yeah.
But
well,
Debbie,
because we've only seen the guns turned at people that are then essentially dead. You know?
Right.
There are piles of cotton candy people at the drugstore just sort of laying there. You know?
I felt so bad for the old man in the drugstore. I was just like, oh man, this poor store.
And Mike at one point says to the police officer, whose name I can't remember, but we'll call him
Dave.
Oh, Dave, sure.
Dave Hansen.
Dave. Okay, so Mike Tobacco says to Dave Hansen at one point of a guy that he just knows was covered in cotton candy. He was like, that's so-and-so. Like, he was up at top of the world with us earlier tonight. Meaning, like, you know, he was there with his lady friend or whatever.
Right.
He's dead. You know, he's a goner. He's dead now. Like, so just the mere presence of the cotton candy means for sure.
Someone's dead.
Someone's dead.
Yeah, the cotton candy was maybe my favorite thing. They kind of look like pink rabbit's feet, or they look like balls or light bulbs, pink light bulbs, fuzzy pink light bulbs.
Nobody stores cotton candy like this. What are you talking about? Of course it is. Look.
If people haven't seen the movie yet and didn't get a close look at the DVD cover, we may not be properly selling like just how horrific the designs for these clowns are. I was kind of impressed now watching the movie with how like polished it was. I mean, for something that is by all accounts really a B movie and it's a horror movie on top of that, and it's goofy and it knows it. It is very like crisp, and the effects
like
are
wine.
much like this wine. Yes, what a good occasion to have.
Yeah, Maria Ganxa. Thank you. It's actually Pascona is the winery.
But it was like I feel very impressed now when I watch a movie that has so many practical effects at play, and they're so much fun to look at.
Yes.
You know, there's a really cool one that was actually addressed in one of those little featurettes where if you actually manage to kill one of these clowns, which is difficult until you know the secret.
Ooh, what's the secret? Or should we not tell these viewers? I think we can tell these viewers.
Yeah, it's all in the nose. So if you get their nose...
The clown nose, we get it.
Yeah. They explode, essentially. But first, they spin around in a big green tornado.
Like a top, yeah.
And in the featurette, they showed this, like, really cool, like, a tube with mirrors all over it that they were shining green lights on, and it was spinning around. And that was just to create the reflections that the graphic they were later going to kind of draw in of the thing spinning around was casting the light on everybody that was watching it. So then they explode in a bunch of fireworks.
Yeah, it's very cheesy fireworks, but it's like how you want them to die.
Yeah.
I think.
And
it's like the end of a circus. You know,
yeah,
fireworks.
absolutely. And so it was just really cool to see. It was exciting to watch. And ironically, in a way, it felt so like new and refreshing to be watching something handled that way when, like, you know, we're it's par for the course anymore to have like the last half hour of a movie be like a big CGI creature fight.
Yeah, no, this is refreshing for sure. And I love in the last half hours when they finally are like thinking about, wait, why did the clowns come here? That was one of my favorite things when they're like in the fun house trying to find them. But I was gonna ask you a very important question. I mean, I think I already know the answer based on you drooling over Dave. But there's a funny thing in here where Dave and Mike are like set up to be like foils because Dave is Debbie's ex and Debbie is now dating Mike.
Yeah. And
Mike, like they basically shun her into go shower and have the psycho scene so they can go and fight in the woods over her.
Oh yeah.
And then basically they're sort of giving each other a hard time. And then Dave, the dreamboat Dave, he says, "Oh, she chose laughs over stability." And so I was gonna ask you one question. What, like, is it if there's an either or here, laughs or stability? Mike or Dave, or...
Oh, dear.
That's
a really hard question.
But if you watch...
Wolfmandy.
Oh, it's okay. I'm flitting between worlds here. I'm in between. But I was actually gonna... how about you don't answer that? Because the movie answers it for you. You don't need to choose.
Do you think that Debbie ends up with both of them?
Did you see the ending? The three of them are hugging and kissing kind of... I thought that was my thought. My take was they're now a throuple.
I like that.
Yeah.
I love that for Debbie. And I love that for the guys, too, because they hugged at the end. Yeah, I did notice.
They really did come together.
I did notice that Mike gives Dave a big hug at the end, and I was like, oh, Mike hated Dave earlier, and the feeling was mutual. That's so happy. I feel like Mike is the right choice of the two for Debbie. Like, Debbie and Dave broke up for some reason that, like, never gets revealed. So clearly something's wrong there. But also, he's so quick to be like, you're probably under the influence of this asshole. You should go home and shower. Like, what? It's
shower
Mike
off of you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like he's got all the power, right? So he puts Mike in handcuffs in the back of his cop car.
Yeah,
I mean, for a guy who I realized earlier I was saying like, oh, he's so anti-police brutality, but it's like he's really quick to wield his power when he thinks it's warranted, which it wasn't in this case.
It was only for Deb. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think his version of his version of treating her like in a genteel manner or whatever is actually really demeaning.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, Debbie
she's the one, remember, she's the one who at the beginning of the movie is telling Mike, like, no, don't you see what's going on here? Like, she jumps to the fact that this is aliens immediately. She's so sure.
I believe the line is this. I don't believe in UFOs, but nobody stores cotton candy like this. Debbie.
Is she wrong?
I don't think she's
wrong. Where's
wrong.
the lie, as the kids say?
What's better, the movie or the wine? Or are they just the perfect pairing?
I don't want to choose.
It's stability or laughs?
The best pairing with this movie would probably be popcorn.
Or ice cream. Or cotton candy. There's a lot of
big soda, really slurpy.
Anything but wine?
Anything but wine is way too classy for this movie, but I do think this particular wine is an excellent pairing with this film.
Oh, thank you for saving Wolfmandy's heart.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Oh, please, ask me anything.
Do you think this is really a horror movie?
Yes. I mean, it's a horror sci-fi. I think
it is too.
I mean, a horror movie doesn't have to be, like, necessarily, like... they're monsters and they're killing people and there's people screaming and there's ridiculous shit going on.
There's monsters around every corner.
I mean, the horror genre I think is flexible and that's why I like it so much. That's why I'm here, because I feel like you can do more things in a horror movie that most genres can't do, and I like the mashups. I mean, this literally does feel like sort of Mad Libs. Oh, we got clowns and we got aliens or monsters. Let's just throw them together, and they're so clever with how they do that. Like, I think a really bad movie would have just been very lazy about that.
Sure. And in a way, I guess, being lured into thinking something's hilarious, like it's so funny that the clown makes a balloon animal bloodhound for himself. And
that is such a good thing.
So it's like, oh, this movie, it's a farce, it's so funny, and then it catches you off guard in a way, like pulls the rug out from under you, because now somebody's dead. You know, now the police officer is being used as a mannequin, and he's even got clown makeup on his face with the mannequin That's pretty creepy.
I liked the best part was when the clown takes out the hand after they're done, and you just get that bloody swish, like.
And do you remember what the clown has the puppet officer say to Dave?
Please.
He says, "Don't be scared, Dave. We just want to kill you."
This movie has so many moments, and I feel like I'm gonna say this in every episode, where I was just clapping and going, yes! Like, because they just did exactly what I wanted to happen, or they were even more clever than they were more clever than they needed to be in every scene. That's how I see this movie. Basically, we could just be sitting here saying great lines, great things.
Because a lot of the movie is made up of a kind of montage of the clowns doing like clowny things for evil. Everyone was so happy and delighted when they came, like, apropos of nothing at your door delivering shit. Like, would you be happy if clowns just show up at your door? No! No, you don't open the door. That might have been different in the 80s too. But these clowns, like I said, are very creepy looking. It's clearly a horror clown.
They're not. It's a horror clown. They're not like Pennywise, but they're not normal clowns.
No, they're worse than Pennywise because they have the same demonic eyebrows and like, you know, look in their eyes. Only they're also like all like bloated and like inhuman and like craggy, and their lips are like swollen and chapped at the same time.
Whoa, that was a good description.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like I was gonna bring it to wine here. I feel like this makes my lips swollen and chapped at the same time.
Is that a good thing?
Oh yeah, no, because it has a diversity of flavor. I don't know what that means. We haven't talked about two very important characters, Marissa. Do you know who I'm talking about?
The little girl and the
She seemed famous, that little girl. I feel like she was in Escape from Witch Mountain, but I made that up.
The woman that says, "Oh, Jim, is this from you?"
Yep, those are the two characters. You did it. No, it's the Terenzi brothers themselves.
The Terenzi
Rich
brothers.
and Paul, who... I wanted them to be the Chiodo brothers. I didn't actually look, but I don't think they are.
Yeah, they're not.
But they are insane / terrible and great. Their whole thing is they get an ice cream truck to pick up women. That's the plan, which to me is like, you get an ice cream truck to pick up children. It's really creepy. That's like, ice cream equals kids.
And they take the truck, first off, they take it to the top of the world.
Yeah, where there's already couples.
And try to get them to like eat their ice cream. And then they reveal the girls that they have in the back of the truck eating ice cream. They're like, "Hey, why'd you bring us here? You said we could have all the ice cream we wanted, but you never said anything about this."
So I guess
parking.
About parking, yeah.
I have to reveal the personal conflict that I felt about that opening scene. Because on the one hand, the transactional nature of like, "Oh, I'll buy you this food and then you will make out with me / have sex with me."
That's terrible.
Sex with me, whatever. I hate that. Reprehensible. But this movie also does, it's so rare, honestly, to see like women who are not thin women be like the subject of like sexual desire in a movie, especially in the 80s. And then the movie's doing this weird, so the women that come out from the back of the truck with the ice cream are just like normal sized women, but they're not like the rest of the girls in the movie. They're not Debbies.
They're not Debbie.
In terms of their physical shape. And then it's also like, but then you're saying that like only fat chicks eat ice cream? It's like, so I'm really to have this inner struggle of just like, am I happy to be represented on film, or am I really mad that it's like, of course they could only lure heavier women in this way, and then also they're trying to lure women, which sucks. I was really having a lot of thoughts.
It's a pretzel.
Yeah, practically the last frame of the whole movie is them sticking their heads out of this truck, being like, "No, you're a doofus. No, you're a doofus. Like, oh, I'm gonna get you. You know."
That is one quibble. I think Rich and Dave, whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah, Rich and Paul.
I think they should have died. I think we needed some death in this movie.
We all thought that they had died, including Mike Tobacco thought that they died, because their ice cream truck blew up and was on fire, and they were in the driver's seat, and the driver's seat was on fire. They died.
It was some Deus Ex Machina stuff, you know, like we need the whole gang back together at the end, but I don't know if we care about the gang that much.
No.
Honestly, everyone could have died and I would have been fine with it. And that includes Debbie. Sorry, Debbie.
A lot of people did die though.
Yeah. I mean, well, but like all extras.
Like a lot of the
whatever.
town died.
But do you remember my favorite part of Rich and Paul? And also the worst part? I feel like we need to talk about the clowns with inflating tits.
Okay.
Sorry,
Please
bosoms.
do talk about it. Yes, that's much better. Thank you.
Well, I don't know, just like, what the fuck was that? Oh, do you need more?
No, I'm just thinking about the bottle of wine.
Oh no, okay, Rich and Paul. Two clowns come up to them, and all of a sudden, they have boobs and they get bigger and bigger like balloons, and then they say, "Are you Debbie's roommates?" Because Debbie has roommates, that's how they got them to help in the first place, because they thought they'd get laid. That's how awful.
I do remember that, yes.
You do, yeah. Mm-hmm. You didn't remember that when we were off camera,
no,
and I was like, how could you forget the dumbest part of this movie?
I think I was like looking away, and I heard the audio, and I didn't notice the whole tit growing thing. That's so interesting.
So, the cherry on top of this movie, which is a reference to my favorite moment, I've said that a million times, is when we're sending pies at the guy and it just basically melts him to death.
Yeah.
But I think what we need to talk about a little bit more is Officer Mooney, because to me, there's part of this movie that I don't think I would have gotten this until the last couple of years that we've had, where he is ignoring every single call for help. He's ignoring every single, evidence or people telling him that there are clowns killing people. And yes, clowns is way more maybe crazy than a disease like COVID or something like that, right? But it felt
global warming.
Yes, climate change. It felt very similar to that to me, and I wanted to see if that's how Mooney hit you.
I didn't think about it that much, but I totally agree with you. Here's this guy who is so... It's like he's high on his own authority.
He literally chuckles at a gun catalog at one point, and I was like, "That's Officer Mooney."
And he doesn't back down in the face of the clown confronting him either. And then he dies.
I wanted a better death for Mooney, but him being a puppet, which feels apropos, and I think I've said that a couple times. That word, I just like saying apropos.
I haven't noticed yet.
You haven't noticed it?
Mm-mm.
Well, I just made everyone notice.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm noticing? I think the wine, there's plenty of wine to drink, but I think we are coming to a close. Marissa, thank you so much for being the first person on this cat-haunted couch.
It was my pleasure.
He's not here now, but we have to hope we can finish before he gets back, because he's going to be hungry.
Yeah.
And when he's hungry, nothing good happens. We can't sleep. Marissa, thanks again for being guest number 1. You got the most sane Wolfmandy. This is the first phase of the moon. And I just wanted to basically say why I'm doing this. There's been a million reasons to not do this because it's sort of insane. Normally every October I watch 31 movies to myself. And this year it felt like I wanted to share that with people. And I was doing it because I lost a friend in April to mental illness, and the last thing that he gave me was a year-long subscription to Shudder. It was a belated wedding present, and we love to talk about weird horror movies, and it was where he felt safe. It's where I feel safe later in life, where just horror feels like the genre for misfits or the people that don't belong, and also for me as someone who is fear-filled and anxious-ridden, it's a safe place to explore that. So I wanted to sort of do this for my friend Chris, and in so doing, I am running a fundraiser through the Trevor Project. That's a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to crisis intervention and suicide prevention for LGBTQ plus youth. So there will be information of that below in the video, maybe on the screen if I can figure out how to do that. And so I just want to sort of cheers to him and all the people that we've lost in the past couple of years, and forever to Lynn, who inspired this whole thing. And
In this movie, at least.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
She couldn't have possibly conceived of even the smartphone that you're watching this on, let alone the fact that we're doing a YouTube horror movie show. But she did inspire the choice of killing clowns from outer space, that's for sure.
And I couldn't have conceived this literally 2 weeks ago. If you can spare some change, or if you can convince your dad to cancel CinemaxGo, give some money to the Trevor Project, but also, you know, I know money is tight. I don't have a job either. So, in the meantime, let's get you ready for next movie. Next time on the Ghoulish Couch, this Ghoulish Couch, I welcome a woman I met last week online. That's right. Her name is Ziana Weston, and AKA the Basic Cinephile, and we are going to watch Hagazusa, A Heathen's Curse. This is a German film, and I'm looking over here to figure out what year it is. 2017. You have your homework. You have your homework. Are you gonna watch Hagazusa? It's about witches.
Sure.
Sure. I don't believe her. And
only time will tell.
Perfect. And so I will see you hopefully in the next phase of the moon. Marissa, let's howl at the moon for the friends we miss.
The friends we wish were here to see this.
Oh!